Okay, let's start.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to another fun episode of Career Success with Adrian and Yen.
Happy Friday.
Keep coming career on. This, by the way, this cup is merch that's on sale. You can drop us an email if you want. We got quite a number of extra cups from our last event that we did. It was a fun event, wasn't it?
It was such a fun event.
We had such fantastic audience.
It was good. It was good fellowship.
The panelists were fantastic. It was good fellowship. It was such a nice, safe environment. Everyone just shared.
Yeah, it's a size. It's a good size.
Yeah,
Not too big, not too small.
correct. And the food was good too.
Yeah, I ate a little bit too much.
I just went for the pizza. But anyway, welcome to our fantastic show we have for you today. Once again, my name is Adrian and I'm the CEO and founder of Career Agility International. And Yen's our co-founder, executive director, and super coach.
I'm just happy it's Friday.
It's Friday and we're going to chill out a little bit. Talking about chilling out now. Everyone seems to be under the impression that they should be full on in their career, accelerating, climbing up the corporate ladder. I don't know about you, but when I was in school, I used to have this thing drummed into me that we need to grab the brass ring and, go and push your career, be the top of the class, be the top of the game.
I've never had that.
No?
From day one, if anyone asked, what are you after? It's always been work-life balance. It's always been. It's strange. When you watch your parents, struggle and strive, and then they get tired, and then they retire, but they get sick, and then they're ill. I'm like, there must be more to this. So I've always aimed for just happy, just contentment.
Yes.
Contentment, not contention.
My shift to work-life balance happened only after I've had my
When
kid.
the kids came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before that, I was driving like crazy and I was very ambitious.
I've always had work-life balance. It's always been, even before my kids came along.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was about, maybe it's not about
Do you think it's a gender thing?
No, it was about, no, it's not gender. Definitely. I know some very, very driven types, regardless of gender. But for me, it was always about optimizing. So it's not worth killing yourself for that. You actually have to put in exponential amount of units of energy to get just one iota.
But when you're
excellence.
younger, you can afford it, the extra energy and extra time.
I refuse. I need my sleep.
Okay, you're very lucky.
Yeah. But then again, maybe it's because I'm fortunate enough to be afforded opportunities where I've never really had to bend over and kill myself. Yeah.
And I think, but some people still have that mentality that they have to continue being in driving mode all the way.
And I'd say it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. I think if you are in, let's say you're in fifth gear all the time and you're like running really quickly, and then along comes a little speed bump. Do you go over the bump at fifth gear?
That's true.
It's going to be really uncomfortable.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's the analogy, friends. It's if you feel like you need to slow down, is it okay?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And that's why today we wanted to address an issue which was brought up to us by one of our listeners. And he said, no, I've come to a stage where I'm no longer that ambitious. And he is in his prime, 42. And he's saying that I no longer want to drive so hard. I'm no longer ambitious. Is it okay? Will it affect me badly? What's your high-level response to that?
I suspect he's projecting an uncertainty because he's worried about other people judging him, because that's how he used to judge other people.
Actually, that's true.
So when someone is uncertain about something, it's usually a projection of their own filters. And now he's asking permission. Is it okay? And then what's my narrative? What am I going to tell people? And how am I going to maybe come to terms if I see my neighbor now getting an upgrade on the car, and then I see another person's going like on his LinkedIn feed talking about another promotion,
another
and these are my
vacation to the Swiss Alps.
So these are my peers, and I'm like, is it okay if I'm not doing enough?
Yeah.
And then they feel a little bit of dissonance. So there's a lot going on.
So, is it okay to be unambitious?
Yes, it is.
I agree.
It is. But you got to handle what comes with that. you've got to be able to reconcile what comes with not driving. You get mental peace of mind, you get a high level of contentment, but also maybe not as much monetary benefits.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And I also think it's a matter of seasons in life.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
you
course.
could be at a point where you're burning up to where you're mentally strained and drained and tired.
And
you just
if
wanna
you're
not-
burnt out, you're no good to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
You need
think
to look after
if you
yourself.
are in a situation where you're thinking like, I really need a break. I do not want. But sometimes it is strategic to be unambitious, because if you're right at the top already, and
what's next?
The next step
The-
up,
the global role?
is going to be a
Yeah.
massive, not worth the
Not worth
the money,
Not worth the lack of sleep.
not worth the energy and the stress. And
Yeah. You know how they say,
Yeah.
right, with the triangle, like when
Yeah.
you reach a certain level or certain age, you've got money, and you've got the energy, but you got no time.
correct.
But you got no time to smell the roses. Then what's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah. So and I know this individual who was already APAC head, and he did not want to do a global role. And he was with a very big company, software company, starts with M, Microsoft. Anyway, and the next step up was going to be at HQ at Redmond. And he didn't want it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, he decided that I'm going to not be ambitious about it in that manner. He moved over to a smaller operation, smaller company, and he became the CEO. And ultimately, he did a lot better there, but he was ambitious in another form. Instead of just climbing the corporate ladder, his ambition was more towards grooming and training the next generation of leaders.
That's nice.
So-
More meaningful.
Yeah. So I think it's okay not to be ambitious.
I think
In one
it's
form.
also okay not to use that term in a binary manner, because you can be driven in many other ways. It doesn't have, like in that story, you don't have to just be chasing the paper, chasing the money,
Yeah.
or chasing the
Job titles,
title.
yeah.
It doesn't need to be binary. And so there are many ways to find fulfillment in your
Yeah.
career as well.
I know this other person at 40, he quit his very high-flying job to become a pastor.
That's a
So-
that's a complete shift.
Yeah, so can you say that he's not ambitious? I would say he's being ambitious because he's got higher ambition,
Right.
in a different direction. So it's okay, I think, if you are happy where you're
Yeah, where you are.
want to
But
go.
we're not telling you to not be ambitious, folks. So again, I've had many other conversations with individuals where sometimes they take something that I've said and then they turn it around because it is seemingly contradictory. Like I would say something. So today we're telling you it's okay to not be ambitious, but we're not telling you to not be ambitious all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Yeah.
Because you have to have, something that is going to help you find a reason to exist.
And I think
But you got to find it. It doesn't have to be work.
yeah.
But at the same time, you have to put food on the table, and there's a choice. You made a choice in a specific field or a career. And if you find that you're unhappy in career A and you want to pivot into something else, that's ambition as well, and that's okay as well.
Yeah.
And then back to the car analogy. So you're in fifth gear and you're humming along, and something happens and you need to slow down. That's okay. You take the foot off the pedal, you shift down to gear 3, and then you go over the little hump. And once that hump's over, you can speed up again. So it is about seasons. So, it's again, not isolated, not binary. Please don't say, oh, the career strategist told us I can be unambitious. Therefore, I don't want to work.
You can be unambitious for a season, just to chill out, take a sabbatical, to reflect where you want to go next. So I think it's okay if you define your own ambition. And I think ambition, what's the definition for ambition? It's just where you want to be, whether you want to, what you
I
want to be
think you
when you
need to have
grow
some
up.
goals.
I think it's
You want to have something
and your
to
goals
work
change.
for.
I think it's okay.
I realize this when someone is goalless, suddenly they kind of
They lose their
kind of-
North Star.
what's the word for it? They spiral a little bit,
Mhm.
and they start going like, "Hey, what am I here for?
No direction.
What am I doing?" Yeah. So have something that you can look forward to,
True.
really, because it helps keep you active.
But there are certain
happy.
times where you have to be ambitious.
Oh, yes.
Especially in environments which are very highly competitive. If you are in a
Yeah.
company that's very highly competitive,
Yeah, and you turn down that promotion, you're
yeah.
not going to get another one.
correct.
Because it's one, and then
It's a do or die type.
this person's indicated that
Yeah.
they're not interested in this promotion. The next one's not
Like-
going to come to you.
Like some consulting houses, consulting firms, if you're not if your career is not progressing every 2 years or 3 years,
Yeah.
you are
Or you don't take the
considered-
next assignment.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're considered as being left on the shelf,
Benched.
and then you're out of there.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to be ambitious continuously if you like that life. I think law firms as well, probably.
Again,
Where you have
context matters.
Yeah.
If you are unsure about whether or not to take that promotion, or your boss comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got this great project that I want you to work on because it's going to be good for your career," and you're not sure, come talk to us, because sometimes we need to kind of analyze and talk it out and see if there's a hidden agenda
we need to
behind
game
that
it. Yeah,
assignment.
we need to game it up. Come talk to us.
And again, depending on how you are positioned and posture, if you're looking for a transfer to a different division, it could be a bit tricky. Come reach out, let us help you.
And I think if you decide to be unambitious from day one, I think that's okay
I'm
too.
just here to make some money to feed my other ambition. It could be, I don't know, I was watching a video about hummingbirds. Maybe I have a little hobby that really brings me a lot of joy. So I don't really care about chasing the money. And I'm just going to take whatever income I make and it feeds my hobby. And the hobby eventually becomes a monetizable one. Why not?
Why not?
That's ambition.
Why not?
And that's okay.
Or you can just be a
Yeah. So some of us don't like work.
okay,
work.
or you can just be a civil servant and just
Oi.
stamp.
Oi.
stamp.
Stereotypes.
Stereotypes.
Okay.
No, but some people are okay with that, and I think it's fine.
Yes.
I know a classmate one of our classmates in uni, and she's been working in one of the stat boards, not
Yes.
stat boards, government, till
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
and she's happy where she is.
She is so happy.
Yeah.
But she complains about the Gen Zs all the time. But
Yeah,
that's
she's,
okay.
She says she's
But she's
happily unambitious.
But she's climbed the ladder. She's been promoted.
Yeah.
But she's been there.
But the promotion
20
is
years.
because of seniority,
Of
not because of super performance.
And that's
or whatever.
okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But once again,
very stable.
yeah. But once again, if you're in a different environment which requires you to run, if you come across as being unambitious, you'll be stuck behind. Your career
Yes.
stagnate. So you once again, like what Yen says, it's very contextual. Come talk to us. But for me, I think the biggest downside to being unambitious is that you stay in your comfort zone too long,
Yeah.
and then there are missed opportunities.
You risk becoming obsolete.
Yes.
Because when you stand still, the world moves on.
Yeah.
And so you're in the theory of relativity, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
you stand still, you're actually going backwards.
Like you're on an escalator that's going down, and you're not climbing. If you're not climbing up to stay still,
Like you're standing on the train platform and the train moves.
yeah.
The train moves away, but you're standing still. You're not moving, but the world is moving. So if I've seen some resumes, people have asked, so if I stay too long, it's not a good thing? I say if you stay too long in one organization, but within those 20 years you've had, progression, you're okay. But it's those individuals that have stayed 20 years doing the same job. So it's one job times 20 years, but effectively it's 1 year. And eventually the technologies changed, the processes have changed, and then these persons find themselves kind of out
outdated.
of touch. That's really hard to pitch for the next role. So that's the big risk of being stagnated.
And I think even things that the new adventures that you might be missing, new challenges, new skills to learn, new experiences to go through. If you're not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you're going to miss out on a lot of things.
So we're not saying that you have to be ambitious, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You could potentially do a bit here and a bit there. Try your hand at a stretch project. Show some curiosity about the other division and go like, hey, what are you guys doing? So that you don't get too isolated. It's not really about driving really, really hard all the time because it's not sustainable. Again, you risk burnout. But it's about keeping an eye on things so that you don't miss out.
So to answer your question, is it okay for me to be not ambitious? The answer is yes, it is. But please be a bit more ambitious.
Wait.
A bit more ambitious. Show some little ambition. Maybe it may not be towards the career ladder or whatever it is, but an ambition to improve yourself, pick up new skills.
Yes.
Try out new things. take a little bit of risk, invest in yourself.
Calculated risks.
Yeah. And get out of your comfort zone. So once again, like what you said, everything is contextual.
Yeah. If you have any questions about what we discussed, again, it feels contradictory. I can hear it, and I was like, we're saying yes, but we're also saying no, but we're also saying, do it. We're also saying not do it. And if you're confused about anything and you'd like to have a deeper dive, reach out to us, info@careeragility.org.
In the meantime, keep calm and career on. Have a good one, guys. Bye.